Texas is the biggest battleground state in the country. Our Democratic Party is building a future that is focused in equality and prosperity.
Our mission is innovative, inclusive, and hopeful. We are creating a Texas that we can all believe and thrive in.
Some of the boldest Democrats to navigate the halls of Congress have called Texas home, and some of them have even made their mark on the White House.
Texas produces progressives, trailblazers, and steady-handed leaders alike who consistently push the needle on issue after issue.
Our leaders champion the noblest of causes because we believe that our country is stronger when we celebrate diversity, live our values, and inspire unity.
Texas Democrats have built a movement founded on landmark policies and programs that make America one of a kind.
We safeguard our planet and fight for equal rights. We deliver on building an economy that works for all Texans. We defend a woman's right to choose, and we challenge the inhumane policies that set to tear our country apart.
While Texas Democrats may differ in their approaches, each one of them has fought like hell to change the course of history and leave our state that much more equitable.
We are the party that paves the way for the future because we cannot advance as a society until everyone has a seat at the table. Donald Trump can't win the White House without Texas, and we got a plan to defeat him.
We know that the strength and resilience of our movement means that we can overcome any challenge set before us.
We know that we will succeed because what we are fighting for is humane, it is just, and it is truthful.
Every day, little by little, our movement grows and our chants for justice ring louder.
We are shaping the political future of our state and ensuring that everyone has a fair shot at the American dream.
This is what it means to be a Texas Democrat. Because when we save Texas, we save our democracy.
And when we save our country, we save the world.
And thank you for being with us this afternoon, everyone. I'm Alejandrina Guzman, and I'm so excited to welcome you all to this week's Townhall Thursday, the kickoff to our week of action, The Power of the Disability Vote. I'm proud to introduce you to our panelists today. Joining us is Serenity Edward, who is an Army veteran and disability survivor. Married over 19 years to her husband, Antonio, she lives in the heart of Central Texas in the suburb of Harker Heights. Serenity suffered from a ruptured aneurysm in September 2016, resulting in permanent disability. Serenity is an independent filmmaker and registered yoga teacher and a lifelong Democrat focused on ensuring the rights of disabled people throughout the nation. We're also joined by Kingsley Ogbogu, a lifelong disability advocate and father of 5. He and his wife, Gidseg, have lived in North Texas for the past 13 years. He holds a master's degree in criminal justice, is an entrepreneur, and was born with cerebral palsy. Also joining us is Judy Kay Craft, who is a polio survivor who lives in Houston. She is a retired database analyst and a longtime political activist, working for campaigns and the Harris County Democratic Party since 1974. And of course, we're honored to welcome our co-moderator, Joey Gidseg, president of Texas Democrats with Disabilities Caucus. I will hand it over to Joey to give us an introduction on the Disabilities Caucus.
Thank you, Alejandrina. And thank you all for being here, and thank you, viewers. This is a really historical moment because we're collaborating with the TDP and we're recognizing the power of the disability vote, the power of all of our votes. And this is a really huge deal for everyone who's been involved with the party. Just very briefly, growing up disabled as a child, I've experienced a lifetime underneath the weight of others' limitations that were projected onto me, of people thinking that they knew me better than I knew myself. And this is something that's very common for people with disabilities. The gates are meant to keep us out. And so we all understand that. But eventually I climbed over the gate and I stopped waiting for people to invite me to participate and to tell me what was possible and what we were actually capable of if we just tried and thought outside the box. And so in 2018, I ran for chair or president of the Disability Caucus, and I won. And since then, we've made a lot of changes, and all of those changes have led to where we are today. We have endorsed over 100 candidates who are responsive to our caucus and care about people with disabilities. We have been working really, really tremendously hard at creating the kind of world that we know is possible, one where we'll all belong and where we matter. And when we vote, we can actually bring this into being, into reality. And so I'm really pleased to have these panelists with us, and I do have several questions. And so, Serenity, you joined our caucus recently, and you've already stepped into a leadership role, which is awesome. And I was hoping that you could just share more about what led you to become involved with our caucus. Serenity, can you turn on your mic?
Thank you. It's so great to have teammates that help you. I joined because how could I not? We deserve to have our voice heard, but it won't be heard if we don't step up and say something and do something. To me, that's important. My disability came at the age of 49 is when I became disabled. So it wasn't a lifelong thing, and it was immediate, and it was very scary. It was an entire life turn that I had to make, but guess what? No one was ready to make that change with me. There were people who were like, oh, well, that's where you are now? Okay, great. You can go sit down somewhere. No, I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to be quiet. None of us should have to, and all of us need to have our voice heard. We've earned it. I cannot hear you.
Right. Yes, I keep forgetting because we have to turn on the mics and turn off the mics.
Sorry.
No, I mean, that is so true. And people just really need to understand that disability is just a part of the spectrum of life, right? It's just a part of the human experience. And if you live long enough, you will become disabled at some point. And so thank you. That's excellent. We do have additional time, but I guess, is there anything else you wanted to add, or?
I wanted to say also how important it is for us to ensure that we are telling the candidates that we have endorsed that, yes, we've endorsed you. Now it's your turn we gave you the endorsement. Now these are the things we need. And to ensure that they provide us with the things that we have asked for and the things that are desperately needed so that our life is as good as it can be. So yeah, I think we should endorse the right people, but make sure that they meet their endorsements.
Absolutely.
They meet it.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, holding them accountable. I mean, once we get people to register who aren't registered, once we encourage people, which is what we're hoping to do now, to use the power of their vote, when we get our people in office, that's when we push them to make those changes that they've given up. Most of them have given us commitments. It is going to be amazing. It will be. But I think they're prepared. I think they're prepared to be accountable. And it's our job to hold them accountable. But they'll be responsive. And that's the important part. Because otherwise they won't listen to us. So I guess Kingsley, I'll move on to Kingsley. Okay, Kingsley. So can you share more about your experiences so far being disabled with employment? I know they're varied, and I know you have a lot to say, so. Turn on your mic.
There we go. All right, I think I got it. All right, there we go. Awesome, got it. Okay, I was pressing that button. So hope y'all can hear me. So yeah, definitely growing up as a Black man with a disability and have working for the last 23 years, I would say that employment has definitely been an uphill challenge, because trying to work in the workforce and thinking that employers are going to give you an opportunity is just not the case, because it's really not, much is not really expected of us. And so they don't really value our opportunities. And so it's really hard trying to make a way. So what I've understood and what I've taught other disabled people is that we can't really depend on society or employers in general to give us an opportunity. We just sort of have to make our own opportunity and do our own thing. And that's going to come through by being an advocate for yourself, being an entrepreneur like myself and several others have, and just really knowing what you're good at, and then using your skills and abilities and talents and finding something within society that you can sort of connect with and filling that void in society, and then teaching others to do the same thing. So we have one disabled entrepreneur teach another disabled entrepreneur to be an entrepreneur and an advocate. Then pretty soon the vision becomes we're all disabled, we're all entrepreneurs and we're advocates for ourselves. And I think that there's strength in numbers. So the biggest thing that I've learned in my 23 years of just trying to work and being out there as a disabled Black man is you just can't depend on society. You can't depend on anybody but yourself. You have to find out what you're good at, teach others, and then go from there. And with that, strength brings power. And I think that has also led us to strong strength within voting as well, because we've worked so hard to get where we are. Now we can use our vote. Our vote is like our voice, and we're able to say what we need to say and let those in those positions know that, we have things on our mind that we want to have accomplished, and they need to listen to us, because if they don't listen to us, then they're not going to be there. So the only way for those people to know that our vote matters is to definitely go to the polls and vote, and let them know that, we mean business. So we work hard to put them there, and then they know that if they want to stay there, they'll take our vote seriously. And that's pretty much me.
That is so right. That is so right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could have said any of that any better than you did. I mean, that's amazing. And it's so spot on. And, I think it's important. I think it's important, but would you say it's important that people, especially in society, start realizing that we can do a lot more than they think that we can, and we are capable of far beyond their wildest imaginings, right? And it's their loss. Their loss.
Exactly.
Because we know. So thank you, Kingsley, and thank you, Serenity. And let's see. Moving on to Judy Kay Craft, Communications Committee Chair. This question is something I know a lot of people also deal with, is having to do with being understood and believed by your doctors. They have to understand you. So can you tell us more about why it's important to be an advocate for yourself as a disabled person with your doctors?
It's vital, and it's been a lifelong journey for me, since I was 14 or 15 months old anyway. In 1954 was the last big polio summer in the United States, where for years, every summer, people were really alarmed about polio spreading around. It's a fecally transmitted virus, and so it often got spread in things like swimming pools, and for especially little kids not washing their hands after going to the bathroom. Well, I was in a daycare center, called a nursery then, at Texas Tech, while my dad was still in college and my mom was an RN working at the big hospital in Lubbock. I caught polio from that center. So I spent the summer of 1954 while Jonas Salk was testing the vaccine in Vancouver. I spent it in an iron lung. The result of that was I got severe polio levoscoliosis, which means curvature of the spine. Levo means left. My spine doesn't just curve in an S, it has a squiggle over to the left. So it's a three-dimensional curve where most people's is just in an XY plane. Mine has to be special and do XYZ. Apparently my orthopedist said I would be 6 foot tall if I hadn't have had polio. I go between 5'5" and 5'7" 5'7" and 5'5" every day. When I first get up, I'm taller than when I go to bed because my back muscles don't hold me up very well. So I passed as able-bodied unless you looked at my x-rays or my orthopedic school shoes when I was younger. I had problems in PE because they're like, what do you mean you can't do this? You're a competitive swimmer. I go, well, I can't do the butterfly because I can't do that kick. And my flutter kick is uneven. But, that was okay. But then as I got older, the nerves that I had used, polio makes your nerves die. And so when you're younger, you can develop new nerve paths better, which is why the younger you were when you got polio, the better off you were. Well, then those nerves start wearing out and you get what's called post-polio syndrome or post-polio sequela. And not all doctors even believe in that. And then you have to convince the doctors. I mean, I've had doctors, one, call me a liar, call my mom a liar. I've had them tell me very condescendingly, well, you can't have post-polio syndrome without having polio first. And I'm like, yes, I do know that. I had polio in 1954. I had to read medical books before there was WebMD. I had to educate my doctors, and they had to educate me. I had to be taught about paying attention to sharp pains, because when I broke my hand, every time I went back, they had to put a bigger cast on because I kept moving my hands because I'm very strongly right-handed. Left side is the polio side. I can't really use my left hand for much of anything. And the doctor's like, well, Judy, if you would just stop doing things when they hurt, you wouldn't mess up your hand more. And I'm going, Dr. Scarpino, if I didn't do things because they hurt, I'd never get out of bed in the morning. So that's the kind of pain level I dealt with. And people think you're not telling the truth when you don't look funny. You don't look disabled. Well, now it's more and more obvious that I'm disabled because I have to walk with the walker. I lose my balance. But I still have problems telling the doctors, no, this is a new pain. And so it's always a matter of you have to communicate with them. They have to communicate with you. You have to walk that fine line of not sounding like a hypochondriac while at the same time advocating for yourself. It would be so much easier if everybody got on the electronic medical records, because I couldn't carry around a box of all of my medical records because it'd be past my 5-pound weight limit. So please cooperate with doctors when they ask for medical records in electronic forms. Save my back, save your back, and communicate better with your doctor. Thank you. It's very important to be your own advocate.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you all. And so this question is for all of the panelists here, and I just wanted to ask you all, why do you think it is extremely important that people with disabilities make sure to register and vote in this election and in all elections? Why is this important, do you think? Serenity.
Because if you don't ask, you will not receive. And yes, we have earned it, but if you don't show up, what do you think is going to happen? We have to show up, we have to step up, we have to be there for ourselves. We have the responsibility to show up. So let's show up. If you're not registered, get registered. I'll help you register. Get registered. And then go through look at the candidates, research them, see who has our back, see who has what we need in their wheelhouse, and then go out and vote.
Right. I definitely second what Serenity said, because the way I look at it, for so many years, we went from exclusion, now we're in inclusion. Now people see that, okay, disabled people, oh, they matter, they're there. Oh, they're actually capable of, voting and in making informed decisions. So now that we've come into this, we're included now, we have power. That's what I tell a lot of my other disabled friends, we fought really hard to get where we are. Because for the longest, they put us in institutions and we were just kind of disregarded and relegated to just being in institutions. But now that we're able to vote and we have that voice, we have to use it, because voting is power. So if you don't vote, you're weakening the power that we have. And so we need to continue just to go vote. Don't sit back and say, well, even if the candidate that you wanted to win isn't there, you should still vote. I mean, you can still vote on whatever issue. You might not like that candidate, but there's still midterm elections. There's things of that nature you can still vote on. There's city council elections, so all elections matter. It's not just, for the president or whether you're a Democrat or Republican. We need to use our power because we fought so hard to get it. So we need to maintain it. And we need to do our due diligence and learn about the candidates and use that power to make our voices heard and let those know in the halls of Congress that we mean business. So definitely you got to get out there and vote no matter what. So that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Kingsley. How about you, Judy? What do you think?
Okay, for me, the 2016 election was a real wake-up call. At the beginning of it is when I first started. I went back to the caucus, which previously had just been mostly doing things at the state convention. Well, at 2016, I went in. They had us in a horrible place that wasn't very accessible. The power chairs were interfered with by lockdown seats, but we got something done, and I got put on a Twitter team, and Ted Jackson would send us disability topics to tweet about, and from there, I discovered Crip the Vote, and I finally learned about disability activism and disability theory from Crip the Vote. And the Democratic Party did a lot more outreach to disability people there. But this campaign with Joe Biden, they're doing so much more work, even more. And plus, this caucus has been so much more active since 2016 that it's just been marvelous. And I really think we're really revving up. We are registering voters. We are educating voters. We're even endorsing candidates now. That's fantastic. And we're endorsing candidates up and down the ballot, not just state elections. We're doing county candidates. It's wonderful. And we really have to show that we are good campaign workers. I mean, this summer, everybody's learned how to campaign the way I do with phone banking and text banking and canvassing from your couch, because nobody wants strangers coming and knocking on their door. I used to love to block walk, but I can't block walk anymore because post-polio syndrome, I fall down. People get scared when I fall down. They think I'm going to die. So you don't want me knocking on your door, not even if I'm on my little power scooter. I still can't get up your steps. So canvass from your couch. Join us in our week of action. Phone bank, text bank, write postcards to people if you don't like to use electronic. Tweet about it, put Facebook, do Instagram. We've got all these great graphics. I'd love for people to put some of our stuff on Instagram. Help me start an Instagram account for the caucus. I'll make you be in charge of the Instagram team. Join us, help us, fight, fight, fight. We need to win. Joe Biden is one of us. He has a stammer. He's worked on it. He's conquered it. And he's helpful to the disabled because he's one of us. Vote for Joe Biden. Vote for Kamala Harris. Vote Democrat up and down the ticket.
Woohoo!
Oh, everyone, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much to all of our speakers for participating in this week's Town Hall Thursday. I'm so honored to be in this virtual space with such powerful disabled organizers who really I admire. Thanks to all of your efforts, we're going to ensure that disabled people feel empowered to register to vote and turn out on election day. So again, sign up for a couple of shifts for the week of action, which is in the comments below, and share with your friends. Next week, we will be hosting a Town Hall Thursday focused on Hispanic Heritage Month. We will be We'll be releasing more details in the coming days, so be sure to tune in next week at the same time. Thanks again, everyone, and we will see you next week. Bye. See you